Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good morrow, whatever the hell good it is for you. I am your host, Captain Goodwill. We are here for Star Trekking.
That's a lot of good already.
It is.
A lot of good.
Too many goods. None of it good. This is Star Trekking with Nerdy Up North. I am your host, Captain Goodwill. I am joined, as ever, by my lovely velour-clad co-host, Science Officer Synoiz, and we have a very special guest making her second trip to the USS Adequate as we moderately sail through the stars at a reasonable pace. It's General Kirkby. Hi, General Kirkby.
Hi.
How are
good
you?
evening. I am very good. How are you, my darling? You good?
I'm warm because I've got a brand new uniform and it is multi-layered. Look at this, guys. Look at this. I've got everything. I've got a turtleneck, which is not a euphemism. How are you, Science Officer Synoiz?
I'm good. I had a relax, which is a strange thing for me. I had a relax at the weekend. It was my birthday on Sunday, and my mates took me to the Lake District. So we were camping, we were climbing mountains, and it was amazing. But I just want to say, though, like, it's kind of the best advice I could ever give someone is that when you're with people, when you try and hang out with people because you want to be friends with them, but then it doesn't really work, and there's no connection kind of there, or where you're with people that don't treat you like you deserve.
This is recorded on air.
Yeah, no. But that whole thing of basically, like, it's that whole thing of, like, when you have, because I've got, like, some people in my life where I was just kind of going, oh, it's such a chore to hang out with them, it's such a chore to do this, or it's, there's never any leeway and stuff like that, and you don't really feel considered. And then you kind of hang out with mates who are genuinely there for you, who are just like, they'll give as much as you give, and then you just go, oh yeah, this is how it's meant to be, isn't it? And I think that's exactly what happened with the weekend. It was like I was with people who were, like, absolutely great, and made sure I had an amazing birthday. They even brought out a cake, and I blew out the candles and stuff, and they sang happy birthday. And I was like, I didn't know I needed this, but it was really good.
Oh, good. You look refreshed, darling. You look absolutely spiffing.
I don't. You can count my age with
Oh,
the
for
lines on my
God's sakes,
forehead.
just take the
forehead.
Oh,
Hang on. Papa!
Neck.
I'm getting readings.
Yeah.
You're a dilf. So,
West.
hey! Oh, hang on. I'm getting some further updates. No, that's about ITV. Okay, moving swiftly on.
No, that's a different thing.
Yes, moving swiftly on. But yes, hello everybody in the chat. We can all see you. My God, look at this active chat that we've got here. We have got the young Slicey Boy from Discord. We've got Weeping Rose, which is the Queen Donna. We have got Beth. We have got Christopher. We have got Lee. We have got the almighty Paul from that Nerdy Up North. I don't know what Nerdy Up North is, to be honest with you. No.
Sounds like an amateur thing.
I think it's a sub-channel of Star Trekking, if I'm honest with you, but I don't know.
He's going to kill us.
He's going to... Well, I'm seeing him on Sunday, so yeah, R.I.P. me. But no, hello everyone in the chat. I hope you are all well. Thank you so much for spending your lovely Friday nights with us. Always a pleasure. Mwah! But, guys, we are here to review a rather good episode, I would say, that the Dabble Wheel has spat out for us.
The Dabble Wheel has been good to us. Like, I got really worried, when I actually sat down to watch this, because I've got this thing where when I watch stuff on Netflix and stuff, like a series, I'll often skip episodes when I'm like, oh, actually, it's one of these, full disclosure, Voyager, when it's a Tom Paris episode, I'll be like, am I in the mood for this right now? Like the one where they find the car. Where they find the floating car in space.
Oh,
and
yes.
They go like, oh, we'll fix it up. And I'm just like, skip.
Those cities were wonderful. What cities? We never saw them on screen.
But this was one of the episodes where when I went on Netflix for it, it literally had it where it had it had like a big chunk watched, but then like remaining. And I was like, oh, I must have skipped this or something. Oh, is this a bad episode? Like, I don't remember it being bad. What it turned out is that as soon as I pressed play, it went to the iconic line from it where he's like, shut up. I was like, shut your mouth and stop talking. And I was like, oh, yes, I remember this because I played this episode to sample that line to use in a drag performance. Because I did, as Candy Snatch, I did a full drag performance about Star Trek, where Candy gets beamed up to the Enterprise, and it's just her having stupid conversations with Picard and Riker, and obviously has that line in it. But yeah,
all
I was
I
just
know
like,
is not to buy you a Tom Paris plate.
Yeah.
What?
No Tom Paris plate for you.
No Tom Paris commemorative plate for
no
you.
commemorative
Synoiz.
plate for you.
No.
I will say hello to Lan, who has joined us in the chat. Hi, Lan! Who is also from the Discord. The Discord's getting a right good following, guys. So if you are not a member of our Nerdy Up North Discord, be sure to check our descriptions later on, because I will add it, because I don't think I've got the link for it, but I will find it. But anyway, guys, we are not here. Oh, it's Mark Anthony who's joined in as well. Greeting folks from Fleet Admiral Sherwood. It is Mark. This is the dude that I keep talking about, that we met in the realms of the Twitterverse, and he was like, you're about 5 miles away from me, and that is so goddamn weird.
That's
goddamn
creepy.
weird. The world is small.
Is he there with like the scanner, and it just keeps beeping? He's like, there isn't a goddamn walls! And
Yes,
and then you sort of burst in, tear his head off, and you know.
Yeah, mostly Trekkies just sit in the town centres and go, Trekkie 2.5 miles that way, and just go. That's how we normally communicate with people. But no, hi Mark, welcome
That's
to.
how I use Grinder. So yeah.
Okay, I'll have to. Okay.
Mark.
Just put that back in my pouch. Yes, guys, we are here to review the Star Trek The Next Generation Season 4, Episode 8, Future Imperfect. Wow. What an episode, first and foremost. Great episode for the double wheel of episodes to chew out to us. Very excited for this, because the synopsis was, after an accident on an away mission, Riker awakes to find himself 16 years in the future with no memory of what happened. Ooh, very good. So it opens up, Captain's Log, Stardate 44286.5. And again, with the Trek facts, Season 4, 4-4 is the Stardate, because that's how they roll, guys. The Enterprise is conducting a survey near the Romulan neutral zone, and Riker is playing his big trombone. Oh,
How we really want to phrase that.
no, I said it. I am committed to the bit. He was playing his big trombone, and he was getting it all wrong in front of everyone.
See, I one thing I'll do is I kind of think it's a bit cringe when it has random Riker trombone moments in the earlier seasons. But then as it goes on, you kind of just go, he's managed to fit in the fact he plays a trombone again. Well done. You know, and it's like, it gets this point of being like a meme in the show of being like, how can we possibly put a trombone into this episode?
I mean, the contractual conditions of Jonathan Frakes being on The Next Generation was trombone, porn. So it sort of fits in with the je ne sais quoi of William Riker, shall we say. But no, Riker is celebrating his birthday in 10 forward. He's been given a rather big trombone to play with. Back on the bridge, Picard and Data.
Also, in the first scene, he's having the party, they bring the cake out. Bizarrely, the first line she says, Troy is dubbed. Like, I was watching it, and it's like one of those, like, you know, the Swedish adverts they put over here, where she's just randomly dubbed, and you're like, what, did she mess up the line or something? Or was there a noise in the background? Or, you know, that thing of just being, I wonder what the story there is.
Like one of those dubbed foreign movies, it's like, happy birthday.
See, it's fine. Like, it's totally fine, like what she says, but it's the fact of the sound is different to everyone else around it, so you can kind of tell that it was put from a different take or something. But just that weird thing of going, I wonder what happened, and that just set me off. Like, I was just really curious about that. Ooh. It reminded me of Garth Marenghi, you know, the TV show.
Yes.
Like, that cat just told me to leave. I'm a woman. I hope that's not a problem.
But yeah, so back on the bridge, Picard and Data, you know, don't want to be late for the commander's birthday, Data. And Data, being Data, is like, I'll never understand the human's predilection to celebrate one's birth. And it's just like, we get free shit. That's the whole reason we celebrate. We get cake and free trombones.
Yeah.
I have yet to receive either. Okay, so my next birthday, I want a trombone and I want cake. All right. And I want someone to be
Trombone
poorly
is the
dubbed.
euphemism, just
No,
to
it's
clear
not.
that
It's
up.
not a
Okay,
euphemism.
right, cool.
No.
Okay.
Although...
I
No,
do
no.
like, though, that this is technically one of the most successful birthday parties we see in Star Trek. Like, when you consider Worf's one, where everything keeps messing up all the time, and you're just going like, what? You know, this is the most successful party we have.
No one dies. Hooray!
Yeah.
That's why they celebrate birthdays, because no one dies. But yeah, so they don't want to be late for the party. However, an officer detects some unusual anomalies. Looks like they are being probed. Oh my.
Innuendo, next generation innuendo bingo.
In
you can sit and yeah.
Yes. They're being probed by the third planet of the Alpha Ornius system. They believe it could be a secret Romulan base because they are so close to the Romulan neutral zone, and those sussy little backers are always up to something a little bit slimy. So they interrupt Riker and they say, "Listen, pet, put down your trombone. We need you to go to have a look at this planet because we think we've got some sussy Romulans."
Sussy Rommies.
Some sussy Rommies.
Sussy Rommies.
Goddamn Rommies. So Picard orders Riker and the rest of the UA team to go down to the planet to find out what's going on. There was a build-up of volcanic... what did they say? Volcanic activity? Because there was methane and carbon monoxide.
Yeah.
And there was going to be a build-up.
I quite like the idea of it where basically it's like, I think it's Geordie's basically like, it is kind of toxic, but we're fine for a bit. Like, you know, it's like, if we stay here for a while, it'll be bad.
Yeah,
But
we've
it's
got
like,
about 5 minutes before our
we're
lungs collapse. We're absolutely fine.
It's all good.
It's
got
Starfleet.
Worf, it's
Yeah,
fine.
we've got health insurance. We're okay. No one ever dies in Starfleet. But yeah, so it starts to get worse. So the Enterprise tries to beam him out. They have a few difficulties. They're able to beam out Geordie and Worf. However, Riker just full on collapses on the floor.
Yeah, it goes all freaky. I love though with this bit where for some reason the music gets really dramatic really quickly when it's like showing a woman operating the transporter, and I wasn't sure if it was because O'Brien's not doing it. And it just felt like a horror movie going, oh no, someone else is operating the transporter. And the music just goes really dramatic. And I was like, it's a woman. And you wonder if it's like,
Where was
the
Miles?
meme, oh my God, we're all going to die.
Where was Miles?
Where was Miles? He was. This is before the great evil arrives, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, this is before the coming of the beast.
The coming of Keiko.
Yeah,
The summoning of the Keiko, the greatest Star Trek villain.
When she attempts human form, and
she could have been a methane gas. So yeah. So Riker passes out. Next thing, he wakes up in sickbay. Beverly's got a lovely bouffon going on.
Yeah.
We love the bouffon of Beverly Crusher.
It's not the Wolf Man. Oh no.
No, it is. I'm going to say bouffon.
That episode.
Bouffon. Yeah, so he wakes up. He has absolutely no memory. Looks in the mirror, and Riker has become Dilf Riker. He's got a lovely.
Full on.
He's full on got the grey streaks going on. And the intro happens, and then we get a little bit of context that Riker doesn't remember anything, and 16 years has passed, and he has no memory.
They make it really dramatic, but basically he's just got a hangover in his 30s. It's like all the signs are there. You know, he's lost 16 years of his life. His hair is grey. He just feels like shit. I also love this scene where it's got where Crusher goes to the replicator and she's like, water, 3 degrees Celsius. And you're like, that is the most pedantic thing I've ever heard. You know?
Do you not like your water at 3 degrees Celsius? What is your preferred temperature?
I just like 4 degrees Celsius.
No, this is smart water. Ugh. But yeah, so he wakes up 16 years into the future with no recollection of what's been happening in those 16 years. All he remembers is being on this planet, passing out, and then just waking up. Crusher says that he's got the Altarian virus, and he's been in a coma for 10 days. Now, guys, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put it towards General Kirkby. If you have been in a coma for 10 days, why are you still wearing your Starfleet uniform?
Yeah, there's this, isn't there? He's sort of immaculate, sort of in place, still,
Non-creased.
nicely groomed. No hair sticking up. No, no crease. No, just no dirty face or anything.
No,
just
no gown.
No gown.
No.
No sort of just immaculate. No.
It must hum.
I'm gonna answer this
Woo!
by pointing out that sponge baths exist, and Nurse Ogawa is very, very smiley during this scene. So I think we can tell exactly what's happened there. Where she's gonna be like,
Someone's trombone
"Oh, no,
got
I have to
cleaned."
bathe Commander Riker. What a tragedy! You minx, Nurse Ogawa.
Agara, what are you doing? I'm trimming his beard.
Also, I love that throughout this whole episode, they made everyone look older. So they've made Beverly look older. She's got grays in her hair. They've got like Picard when we see him, he's like older. Everyone's different, except Nurse Ogawa because she's an immortal goddess. Because there's nothing different about her at all.
The curse of Keiko. That's all I'm going to say on that.
I just love the idea of just spreading the rumor that Nurse Ogawa is like an immortal. She's literally like, what's Guinan's race called again?
She is an Elorian.
Elorian, yeah, there's only like 2 of them in all of Trek, isn't there? 3 maybe.
Well, there was
I
more
like the
because
idea that
obviously
maybe she's just randomly an Elorian.
All this.
Yeah, because there was the Doctor from Generations.
Yes.
Who was played by Malcolm McDowell, who literally did that role just for a paycheck. Because his son was a huge fan, and then he was like, I'm just doing this for a paycheck. But his son was like, you're on Star Trek! He was like, eh. So,
I love Malcolm McDowell.
Oh, yeah. He only did that he was completely checked out with the film, and he admitted that he was only doing it for a paycheck because his son's quite famous as well. I don't know if anyone in the chat can...
Is it Andy McDowell?
So yeah, moving on.
Dowell McDowell.
Yeah. So moving on. So
Just derailing her. So continue, Goodwill.
So yeah, so
he has a famous son. Pretend I didn't do what I always do.
So Riker is captain of the Enterprise, and he's been captain of the Enterprise for 9 years. He has no memory of it. And Beverly says that this could be because of the virus, and it may come back, or you may have permanent brain damage. No biggie. You may be good. You may be broken. You'll be fine.
Just a bit of encephalitis. You're all right. Yeah.
Thank you.
He didn't even get
Dr.
a sticker
Crusher.
and a lollipop, which I think is, imagine it's just like, here's your brave boy sticker.
A sticker.
That is, she is, honestly, during this time, her bedside manner and skills have been, oh God, man. Do you know what, Graeme? You've absolutely melted me after that comment. I'm absolutely dead. Her skills of being a medical doctor are absolutely thrown out of the window because she is just, you are right, she's shit. She is a better tactical officer than she ever was as a doctor.
I think it's that weird thing. It's literally, I keep saying it, but it's the fact of when we see all the doctors across Star Trek, I think she might be the least impressive out of all of them.
Oh, God.
We've had amazing minds like Phlox, we've had, the Doctor, we've had like Bashir and whatnot. I mean, they've all kind of had an advantage in a way. Like she's probably, but even Pulaski and Bones are like better, and they're human essentially. So
essentially.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I think Pulaski's probably like an android. She's probably like the Terminator under that.
She's just data to data.
Basically, the missing episode between season 2 and 3 is when basically she just goes like rogue, and then they have to take her out and stuff. But then her skin starts coming off, and it's like a metal exoskeleton underneath. And then they have to I think they have to put her into a crushing machine or something. No, they lower her into lava. And it's just her fingers being like that. Just sinking down into the lava.
Or she became Keiko O'Brien. Okay, so the next scene, they're walking through the hallway. want to go to Riker's quarters to try and trigger his memory. He goes, no, I want to go to the bridge. And the computer really does not understand. The computer in the lift does not understand where someone wants to go. So you're just like, that's a bit suspicious, isn't it? That's a bit sus, that. But anyway, gets to the bridge.
There's a Klingon as well. Like, it's the fact of...
Yes, there is a female Klingon.
There's a female Klingon officer with the most swagger I have ever seen in an extra. And this is an extra who knows that she's in for one shot. And she's going to make it fucking count. Because it's just literally like...
I mean, that is like, I have spent 4 hours in a makeup chair to get this face on. I have spent another 2 hours being poured into this fucking onesie from season 1. I am going to flaunt every single aspect of it. Oh, yeah, just like...
It's just like...
Yeah.
You know, he's just like, okay, right.
Because Jam don't shit like that when she's walking past the hallway. She is with honour. That's all I'm going to say for that. But yeah, so we get to the bridge, and, well, Synoiz and General Kirkby, we see a Ferengi at the helm. And I'm going to put it to you. This, boys and girls, Treks and Trekkers, is Ensign Gary.
Are we saying? Is this Gary?
This is Gary. This is
Gary?
Ensign Gary,
Gary?
the greatest Ferengi.
I've broken him, Kirkby.
Says I'm fucked. Yes, Ensign Gary the Ferengi. May he rest it. We never see him again. We never ever see him again, and I'm convinced.
Don't know that, but we do. But...
For those playing the home game or are new to our podcast, I'm convinced that in the 24th, 25th century, other cultures have appropriated names from subsequent cultures into their own. So we get Gary the Ferengi. There's probably some dude walking around San Diego called Quark. And he's just a pasty.
There will be.
He's just a
the
pasty
Oh,
whitey.
messed
Of
up
course.
naming me child.
Yeah. So we've got Gary the Ferengi. You're out there, Gary. I will remember you.
Is this the first time that we see? I was wondering, and I couldn't be bothered to actually look it up. So I'll
Shocker.
talk to you guys. You might know. Is this the first time we see the Ferengi in their sort of headdress? You know, where they have the thing at the back? Because I know we see it a lot in DS9. We see it in later Trek, but in the earlier seasons of Trek, like, obviously they don't have it because they're the weird monkey things at the beginning.
I think we do in the Stargazer.
Right,
where you got Dim and Bok.
Yes, because I was looking at it being like, is this the first time? Like, is that what's meant to represent the future or something? But no, but it's great though. It's nice knowing that even though this happens, I love the idea of that's a reality. 16 years in the future, after Rom, we have all of these Ferengis that think that they can go into Starfleet.
We've got Faster Stripes. We've got Go Faster Stripes on every single wall of the Enterprise, but our Ferengi have now got mud flaps. So that is
Dabo wheel in every ship.
Also, shout out to Worf, who does nothing but gangster lean on the helm, just like.
I wondered about this. Like, has Worf been demoted? Because it's like because he's not higher than Data, isn't he? But he's Lieutenant Commander as well, isn't he?
Data outranks Worf.
Yeah.
In the normal time.
He's Lieutenant Worf. He's Lieutenant Worf, okay. And then Data is Lieutenant Commander, which is the next rank up. Worf gets promoted in Generations to Lieutenant Commander.
But that's the thing. So it's the idea of Worf here, in order to be at the front. It means he's not Chief of Security anymore, but does it mean that he can be Lieutenant Commander?
He will be Lieutenant Commander in this one, yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously in this one he'd be Lieutenant Commander and Data will be Commander because he's the number one. He's got the 3 solid gold pips. 3 golden pips. So it's, what's Lee saying in the chat? Oh my days. Steve the Vulcan.
Steve Vulcan.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
There is a Steve. There's got to be someone in Star Trek Online. It's just got Steve.
I think it's spelt Steve, but it's actually Stevie or something. Or
Stevie
the Vulcan, and they're like, spell that, and you're like, Steve. You know, no. The traditional Vulcan name, Stevie.
Just it's a tribute to Star Trek V.
Davey.
It's a tribute to Star Trek V, but they call themselves Steve. Because it's STV. Get it? STV. Anyway, so they get to the bridge. And they find out the Data is now #1. Riker's still trying to acclimatise. Romulan Warbird starts to decloak. Riker goes absolutely apeshit, goes red alert, and Data's going, dude, WTF, chill, TF out, all right? We're expecting him. And he's like, go!
Really?
Yeah. Ensign Gary's going, dude. All right, all right, Gary. Yes.
Calm your tits.
Calm
okay?
down, Mama East
Calm
down.
down.
Yeah. So it uncloaks and we find Dadmiral Picard comes onto the viewer because Picard's got the old goatee going on.
I got freaked out by this. Like I've just written in my notes in massive letters, bearded Picard, ! But I did get distracted though, because obviously he's got the little goatee, and I thought he looked like the shop owner from Gremlins. And it was just and I was looking at him just being like just him coming on with Mogwai, but the Mogwai's got like Troy's face. That's a nightmare right there.
Wow, just calling Deanna Troi a gremlin. Okay.
He's got more hair on the back.
He's got a
normally.
mullet. He's got a mullet. He is
He's got a
party
bald
at
mullet.
the back.
Bald mullet.
He's just bald and then mullet.
If it's Picard, would it be a pullet? No, don't no. So
Don't pull it. No,
yeah.
that's...
So they beam over. They go to transporter room 6. They beam over. We see bearded Picard. Back to the observation lounge. Again, a bit of context where they find out that Riker had saved a Romulan ship when he was captain of the Enterprise. The Romulans were impressed. They started talking. Riker became the spokesman in securing an alliance with the Romulans, and they were on their way to sign a peace treaty with the Romulans. Everyone's friends. We are one big happy fleet. Tra la 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 la, rainbows and unicorns. Or are we? Riker states he's not fit for command, which, to be honest, if you've got a 16-year gap in your noggin, you'd be like, I'll pet.
Yeah,
Hold on a minute.
This is the weirdest thing that Picard's like, no, you're totally fine for duty. And you're like, no.
No.
It's this weird thing. And admittedly, obviously, we're going to get to it, but this was the first bit in the episode that made me go, this seems not like Picard at all. Unless he has become an evil admiral. You know, getting the goatee, becoming slightly evil.
A very sort of, mirror universe kind of goatee going on with extra hair, kind of
exactly.
very kind
that
of
is
evil
the most,
looking. Yeah.
How do we make him look mirror universe goatee?
Without
hair.
actually ever doing a mirror universe episode.
Yeah, that's what they should have done with Kira. For her mirror universe, they should have just given her a goatee, and then be like mirror. That should be like a lower decks troll where they do the mirror universe, but every character, the only difference is they have a goatee. And that's it. Like everyone just has it.
You know, somewhere someone's writing that down for a Lower Decks episode now.
It's going to happen, isn't it?
You
It's
know
got
for
to
a
now,
fact.
so it's going to turn up on Lower Decks.
You absolutely know for a fact. I lay you bet in that Strange New Worlds cameo, Boimler's just going to go, oh, we're fine, Spock doesn't have a goatee. I'm telling you.
Oh my god, I saw that picture the other day. I was like, oh my god, it looks so good.
I can't wait for that.
Can't wait.
With this, like, is this also the first time we see Deanna in a uniform?
This second time.
Is it second time?
Because
right?
the first time was Encounter at Farpoint where she wore the scant.
Yes.
The miniskirt and the boots.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was the first time, and then we didn't see anything for up to this episode for 3 years, and then she was wearing a full uniform. Again, a bouffon.
That's with the Pegasus. Yeah. Is that with the Pegasus where he's like, oh, wear a uniform rather than the onesie?
No, that's Jellicoe. That's way later on. That's
Is it?
That's Jellicoe, that. Again, Jellicoe, brilliant officer. Glad to see him back in Prodigy as well.
Not a nutcase whatsoever.
He's not a
Just to
nutcase.
clarify.
He's just a dick. But he's a dick with a point. He is a Shaw. That's what he is. We grow to appreciate
we're going to
it.
disagree about this one. I think, the whole Jellicoe thing where it's like, oh, I don't agree with that treaty, so let's just ignore it. And you're like,
Ooh.
okay.
When we get
that's
to
not
that,
how treaties work.
when we get to that two-parter, that's going to be an interesting discussion. But no, I mean, this scene, Kirkby, was this your first indication that something was not quite kosher?
It felt very wrong. Yes, for me, the first indication was the lift. I was like, "Oh, that's not right."
Oh.
But because Geordie's in charge. Geordie doesn't really mess it up. Everybody else messes it up, and Geordie mops it up. He's like the parent, isn't he? Really? But this just felt wrong. Picard just felt wrong. Admiral Picard just felt wrong. It just felt very. I mean, obviously, I knew it wasn't Marine Universe, but it felt very Marine Universe. It just felt very dodgy.
Very dodgy.
And obviously, Deanna Troi being not with Riker in any way, because obviously they're very close. It felt really wrong. Something didn't feel right. It felt very off.
Yeah, because he even asked that, and she says, well, there was an opportunity at Starfleet Command with Jean-Luc Picard. Yes. I had to take it. Bye. You were married to a lovely woman. Oh, by the way, she died 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
Spoiler alert, we're not quite there yet, but yeah, sorry, bye.
Yeah. I also love, okay, we're getting to the scene next, aren't we, where he goes
Let's
back
get
to
into this scene, because it is a big reveal.
I love this, where basically, like, it just has, big reveal, he goes to his quarters, and there's a kid there. And the kid's like, oh, hi, Dad. And it's not like, oh, hi, Dad, you've been in a coma for 10 days. It's just, oh, hi, Dad, because he doesn't give a shit. He's been playing on his Switch.
Trombone.
He has been playing his trombone. I don't know
He is that age. He is that age.
I hope he kept the
Hi, Dad.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That was a quick coma, Dad.
10 days,
Another
quick.
phrases I never thought I would say in my life.
10 days?
But that's what they said, though. They said,
not enough Lucas in the
for
world.
10 days, he's forgotten his memory for 16 years. But I do love the idea, once again, that they're like, oh, Dr. Crusher thought it would be a good idea to surprise you with the fact you've got a kid. And you're like, Crusher, really?
Yeah.
It's just like,
Dr. Pressure.
Surprise, it's AIDS. No, Crusher. No, that's not. No.
That's Synoiz's catchphrase of the week. Synoiz's catchphrase of the week.
I was saying, yeah, guys, sorry, before the episode, I tried to wind these guys up so we make it as unprofessional as possible. And I was suggesting that surprise, it's AIDS should be my new catchphrase. And they were like, no. And I've managed to work it in somehow. So that's the mark of a professional.
Yeah, there are certain things that we don't say, like Philip Schofield's PA. So we get into Riker's quarters. He finds out that he's got a son called Jean-Luc, which is like, oh, dude, just call him John.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Don't call him Jean-Luc. He has to go to school.
Yeah, John Luc. Hello, my name's John Luc. I'm a builder.
I'm a plasterer.
Riker should not be surprised somewhere along the line he's got a son, should he? Really, let's face it, this is Riker.
The surprise is he has one son.
Are you saying?
That's the thing. He's like, hang on, I was expecting 40. Right.
Are you saying that he is being quite promiscuous?
Obviously, no, I'm not going to say that at all. How would I get that opinion at all?
I'm watching you, General. But yeah, so
he's like, well, what happened to the rest of them?
Yeah.
One? Okay.
Yeah, they're all clones. So yeah, we find out that his mother died in a shuttle accident two years ago. That Troy had left for a job with Jean-Luc at Starfleet Command. The senior Jean-Luc, mullet Jean-Luc.
Mullet Jean-Luc.
I tried to do a bit of digging for Riker song because the actor's called Chris Demetral or Demetral, however you want to pronounce it. And I thought, oh,
that sounds like a drug.
Well, he looked very familiar, and I thought, well, has he been in stuff before? But he's a bit actor, so he's not had many reoccurring roles. So he's sort of been in CSI, all those standard American shows that you would expect, like Dawson's Creek and stuff like that. So you're like, oh right, okay. So he's been everywhere. So he's one of those actors where you see him, you go, oh, what's he been in? And I hate, and I hate that because when you find out, it's like 70 million IMDb credits. Like I was a leaf on a tree in ER, and it's like, oh god. But it was So Riker wants to know what his service record is, and the computer's still going slow. And he finally pulls Geordie's slacking. He's in the process of reading it, speaking to his son, when they have to go back to the transporter room because they're about to meet the ambassador, who is Ambassador Tomo Locke.
I love him.
love a bit of Tomahawk,
I
don't
love
you?
him. Do you know who he is? Am I going to spoiler this?
Just do it.
I know
Do
who
it.
he is.
Yeah. He's Jakar from Babylon 5. He's the same actor.
It's Andreas
Kazooklis, yes.
Kazuki, Karalam. Andreas Karalam. No, it's Katsoulis, I think.
Katsoulis or something like that. Yeah, he's phenomenal.
See, the thing is, I'm obviously my feelings about Babylon 5 are harsh because I'm not a fan of it. And I think part of the problem is like I'm not keen on Jakar in it. I'm not keen on Jakar in it because basically he's meant to be this bloody warlord who's like everyone's like terrified of him, and then Andreas is like, yeah, you know, and he's got this kind of inherent campness about him, and I'm just going, hang on, you know, like, and everyone like treats him like he's like sort of a Klingon warlord or something, and then it's just him being like, oh, hello.
So, I mean,
I love it though. I love that we got Tomahawk back. And the shoulder pads, the bowl cut, the shoulder pads,
the 90s curtains.
This is what Picard season 1 and 2 was missing. This is it's they need to redo the whole of season 1 and 2 and just put all the Romulans in the massive shoulders, the tinfoil jackets.
It was so 80s yet 90s at the same time, and it was beautiful. I liked Tomahawk from the previous episode where he was at Nirvana 3, where he was like, I'm going to take the Enterprise's hull and display it in the Romulans, and it's just like, oh, you are such a dick, but I like you. And he's a great villain. I mean, but with Babylon 5, just a little side, it took me 5 attempts over the course of 15 years to watch Babylon 5, and it was, for me, it was the visual effects, because the visual effects were so 1994. It was unreal. You look at them now and you're like, oh my god, it's like Reboot with a higher budget.
And I think that's the scary thing, though, that everyone, whenever they're trying to sell it to you, they point out how amazing the graphics are, and you're like,
they're really not.
You've got to have more than that. Please tell me there's more than that.
I will give Babylon 5 props that, yes, they were one of the first shows to use fully CGI special effects for space, which is, that's fine. But they were not polished. In the end, I liked Babylon 5. Not a lot, because there are like very glaring faults with it, but I liked it. But yeah, 5 attempts. For that.
I've got to be really harsh with Babylon 5 because one of those things where it's just a franchise that you don't enjoy, and the problem is all the stuff that I don't like about it is the stuff that people say is the best thing about it, like the overarching story I struggle with.
Yeah,
it's the whole thing of like everyone's like, oh, it's got this big story and it was all planned out from the beginning and it's all one massive plan. You're like, then why do characters just keep changing massively between episodes? Why is it that, an episode passes and suddenly this character and this character are best friends? Or why is she suddenly a lesbian for one episode and then she's not anymore? Oh, she's just vanished, has she? And you're like, hang on, what? And then everyone's like, oh, they planned it all from the beginning. You're like,
because
what? That's the opposite. So
they may have planned
Babylon 5 rant. I'm sorry, anyone who's a fan of Babylon 5. Please feel free to message me on social media and convince me. Because I've
already tried.
Like it.
It's impossible. I've already tried.
I will say they may have planned it. However, they did not focus on the continuity.
Yes.
Which is what they lacked, which is why some characters were different, some suddenly changed for one episode and then changed back. So it was very loosey-goosey with the continuity. Much like Doctor Who.
Couldn't you say that Voyager was all planned from the beginning because they get home at the end and be like, oh, yeah,
spoiler alert!
That's a clever arcing plot.
But they were contracted for 7 years, and so was DS9, and to a lesser extent, so was Star Trek: The Next Generation. There were 7-year plans, just the episodes weren't thought out a lot. So with Voyager, yes, they had an overarching plan, which was get home. So you can say they sort of had a plan. Oh God, where were we in this? Yes,
I think what we should do,
sorry,
Goodwill. We should have an episode, like a special episode about Babylon 5, where it's us watching it, determined to enjoy it, like where we just go, hey, let's fucking enjoy Babylon 5. I'd like to do that just because I really want to enjoy it, but I'm just too much of a bastard.
Does anywhere stream it?
I've got the box sets. I bought all of the box sets for it because I was like, I'm watching this shit. I'm going to enjoy this shit. And then I got like so far in, I was like, I'll watch something else for a bit. And then,
never went back.
I've got the box set. I don't think anywhere streams it anymore. I don't
Well,
think
above all
licensing
else,
was allowed.
Above all else, watch Battlestar Galactica. That's all I'm going to say. So, moving on. So Tom Locke beams on. He's Ambassador Tom Locke now. Riker is instantly distrusting. The music is very sus as well, letting the audience know that they don't trust. They have got the rocking 80s shoulder pads with 90s curtain designs. The bowl cut, which as a child in the northeast of England with no money, yes, I had.
I just love the idea that this is effectively saying 16 years in the future, Romulan fashion hasn't changed at all. They're like, no, still, like,
why
I think
change
maybe
perfection?
The balls that they put on their heads got bigger or something, or maybe like,
why change perfection? That's all I'm going to say.
it is
So,
pretty damn sexy.
so they get to the bridge. Riker is still uncomfortable, wants to speak to Picard and Troy in the ready room. So Data decides to give Tomalak a tour of sensors and tactical, because that's what you do with Romulans. So they're in the ready room. And little fact, the ship on Riker's desk in the ready room is the USS Melbourne, NCC 62043, which is the prototype Nebula class, which had 4 warp nacelles. So that's my Trek fact of the day.
That's a lot of warp nacelles.
It is a lot of warp nacelles. 2 are big, 2 are small. Bit of variety.
It's how you use them, love.
Oh, it is. It's the bubble it creates. So they sit down. And Picard says, look, a lot's changed in the 16 years because Tomalak wants to discuss Outpost 23. And Riker's going, why are we giving him the location of one of our most crucial outposts, which is a key strategic location for this for the Starfleet in the neutral zone? And he's like, it doesn't matter. Forget about it. We changed it ages ago. It's just where we keep our hard drives now. It's absolutely fine. Nothing to worry about. The pawn is gone.
Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely fine. And Riker's just like, the pawn's not gone. I'm telling you, it's not. It's absolutely not. So it's a little bit, again...
I do love it, though, that like Riker is just being the most sensible thing. Because I was just like, if people are like this, wouldn't you just be like, oh, yeah, Picard, you'll know. You should tell them.
Yeah. And again, it's the first sussy part. It's one of the early sussy parts where it's just it just all smells dodgy. It all smells dodgy. Why is Picard so complacent? Why is he not heeding what Riker's saying? Why is he just brushing it off as it was 16 years?
Yeah.
And it's just like, but do you know what I mean? So it was a little bit dodgy when I first watched it as a kid. And it's just like, there's something absolutely up here. Because when you're a kid, you're just like, oh, wow, so we're now 16 years in the future, blah, 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 blah. Fun fact about this whole show, like this whole episode, you never see the exterior of the Enterprise apart from the beginning and the end, which were both in the present.
Yeah.
Because they had no money to modify the model. So skint.
Didn't they just put some like sort of Lego
stickers.
Transfers or stickers or something on it?
They
Spend it all on Picard's hair.
They stickered the
That's it.
They stickered the walls and the chairs and the doors with Go Faster stripes. That's what they did, which I kind of liked, to be honest with you. I did like it.
What Lee's just said in the chat, I wonder if Riker woke up 60 and was like, 16 years? I hope someone deleted my browser history.
Riker, if you don't use incognito mode, then you deserve it.
And here's our sponsor.
NordVPN!
Yeah, it's NordVPN.
Next week, Manscaped. As they are...
Riker needed after being in a coma for 10 days. Bloody hell.
No, he didn't. He had nurse to go. So...
Oh, yeah.
Well, speaking of sickbay...
Aging Enchantress.
Speaking of sickbay, a sickbay segue, Riker gets a call to get down to sickbay ASAP because his son's being injured. His son has broken his wrist. I thought playing the trombone, but no.
Yeah.
He was playing Parisi Squares. And Riker
Do we
immediately...
ever find out what Parisi Squares is?
I don't know.
Because it gets mentioned a lot, but it's one of these ones like, you know, like the Ferengi games where it just goes, oh yeah, that's a game, but we won't go into how it is.
I thought it was...
It's like polo.
No, you're thinking of the tennis game in DS9.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Parisi's Squares.
Oh, we're just going straight to Memory
fucking
Alpha.
right. I'm going to Memory Alpha. This is what you do.
I just got this vision of this kid like playing. Remember Nightmare on the TV when we were kids? That TV, like just sort of walking along with like squares falling from underneath him, something like that.
Parisi Squares was
that is basically the holodeck, though. Like Nightmare is basically the holodeck, but with a helmet stuck on.
So Parisi Squares was a vigorous and rather violent athletic game played by people from many worlds and ages during the 24th century. Its popularity among the youth was a concern for parents. Players were called Parisi players. Well, yeah, of course they were. Yeah, the rules of the game thus follow. The game was played on a court and involved 2 teams of 4 players. Substitutions were possible, which allowed teams to rotate active and resting teammates. Some players, such as Commander William T. Riker, disliked the practice, feeling that doing so created disruptive loss of team's rhythm. When playing Parisi Squares, players wore padded uniforms and used pieces of equipment called iron mallets. Wow. The game also involved a ramp, and if players were not careful, they could fall off and injure themselves. Oh, this is not a game for the youth.
No.
Hang on, so they're running up a ramp with mallets.
In padded gear.
Like, this sounds like the writers pulled ideas out of a hat. And they were just like, okay, mallets, there's a ramp, teams.
Where can I play?
Right.
This
This is just 4v4 on Rust on Call of Duty. This is all this is. This is what it sounds like.
This sounds like shoplifting in Middlesbrough. This is what this sounds like. They've got a mallet. They're running up a ramp kind of thing. They're just ram raiding Wilco.
We don't use weapons. We just walk in. So yeah, Jean-Luc has broken his wrist playing Parisi Squares. Riker goes absolutely apeshit at him. Crusher takes it to one side and goes, away. This is what kids do. You need to calm it down. They're going to get into scrapes. They're going to get into bumps. And then what proceeds is a lovely father-son moment. We do get a little bit of father-son bonding in sickbay. And then when we go into the turbo lift, which I think the computer judges again in this scene, where he goes, I never really wanted kids, but now that I've got you, I kind of like you. I think you're all right.
Yeah.
You're good, son. Just don't go into that second drawer in my bedroom if that's all right with you.
And
stay away from my trombone.
Already been.
Yeah. So they go back to the quarters. Well, before they get to the quarters, they go on about how Riker wants to take him fishing, which I thought, it's kind of nice. You know, you never known he's had a son, and then within a day he's just like, do you want to go fishing? I'm like, yeah. Good on you, Riker. Daddy Dilf Riker. That's what we're going to call him.
See, the cool thing here is he suggests a fishing program. He's like, hey, have I ever shown you like the fishing program? And the son's like, oh yeah, we've done that loads. I think this would have been a perfect opportunity for him to be like, I just made that up, or something.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. But the kid just immediately is just like, oh yeah, of course we know that.
But this is not.
And it seemed a bit sus to me.
Yeah, this is because we are getting close, but at this moment in time, he's still not fully aware that something's going on. He's got little hints, but he just thinks it could just be his memory. When they get to the quarters, though, he's trying to find family movies, can't find anything. Jean-Luc pulls up a family movie of himself surprising his dad, which I thought was, I was like, And then Riker wants to find his wife, can't find anything. Jean-Luc pulls up a birthday scene.
Yeah, like a weirdly, but if you search for this specific thing that totally hasn't been pre-prepared.
Who's filming it?
Yeah, that's it. It's this weird thing. It's just, it's a happy family moment with a stranger and a video camera.
It's a happy...
Like, okay, it's nice to know nothing's changed in 16 years.
It's a happy family moment with minuet.
Yes.
How amazing is this, though? Because I looked at it and I was just like going, where is she from? And I was like, immediately, like, I know that actress. And you know that thing like you get in Trek and all of the 90s sci-fi where you just go, have you been in Trek before, or have you just done the gamut? Where you've been in Babylon 5, you've been in like, Stargate, you've been in like, like we have with everyone who appears in Voyager, where they've been in all the shows.
It's the American equivalent of being in Taggart for Scottish people. Like, some people have been murderers 3 times. It's just that, like, it's Jeffrey Combs has been everyone in Star Trek ever. It's one of those things. But Chris raised a good point. I have to give a shout out to Chris, because he raised that through Riker being a waifu was the only way he discovered that it was all fake. So because Riker had essentially a photonic sex doll, that's how he knew that everything was fake. Synoiz.
Can we just point out that I think the only person who actually gets it on with a real woman in TNG is Data.
Jean-Luc.
Jean-Luc.
Oh yeah, John. But everyone. But that's because he's GILF territory. Well, he is now. He's a GILF now.
He was full on. Because he's French, so he's filth.
Okay, right.
Full on filth.
Let's leave that xenophobia right there.
What?
Filth. Just be like French filth.
No, father figure. Anyway, so
I love though that they got the actress who plays Minuet.
Yes,
back
for like 3 seconds.
A shot. Yeah. They literally just go, "Oh yeah, cool. You haven't been in for a while," but basically,
Can you imagine
for one shot?
Can you imagine being her agent? Right, you're in LA, right, and you go, "Listen, right, Paramount have just been on the phone. All right, yeah, okay. Star Trek want you back. Roddenberry, Rick Berman, they want you back in Star Trek." And she's like, "Oh my God, this is like." What, like Best of Both Worlds has just happened. The Undiscovered. It's like, This is like my big brick. Oh my God, what am I playing? You're playing Minuet for 3 seconds in an episode. What?
Is it even 3 seconds? I think is the question.
How much did she get paid for that 3 seconds?
I think a tenner and a Twix.
In 1990 or 1991, that was quite a lot.
That's quite a lot. Right? That's quite a lot now. It's kind of gone full circle. Really.
Well, with Cosy Lives, a Twix is.
I think any kind of food now is pretty much Cosy Lives.
Was it a Twix duo?
I don't think they had them in the 90s, did they?
Oh, I'm not.
Twix duo.
Chad, did they have Twix duos in the 90s?
Yes,
Chad,
you are a chocolate.
I don't know. Were Twixes even around in the 90s? Did he just?
Of course
get
they were.
IOU?
Of course they were.
Just an IOU for a Twix. When we invent these, you can have one.
We time travelled back to introduce Twixes.
We definitely had Twixes in the 90s.
Is it Twixes or Twikes?
Twix. Well,
Twee with an X.
It's a Tweaks.
It's a Twee.
Twixes. I just pluralised it for no reason. Twixes.
Yeah, but
that's how Tuvix was born. That's how Tuvix was born. They looked at the rapper and went, "Hang on a minute." At the U. Anyway. I've missed doing this live. Again. I miss doing this live. 3 a.m. The review was still not over. So, so he discovers Minuet and he twigs. And I love Jonathan Frakes' acting in this scene because he's just like, and he just turns, doesn't he? He turns and he's like, "Father, what is up, Father?" And it's just like, nothing. He's like, he completely changes.
Again. He's just like, nothing.
Yeah, and then he just turns on the kid and then he's asked to come to the bridge. And nonchalant Geordie, who we should mention doesn't have a visor because he's got cloned eyes.
Which is weird because every other future version of Star Trek has him with not cloned eyes but with robotic eyes, like implants.
Yeah.
This is the only instance where they just go, "Oh, he's got cloned eyes," but it's it's a bit weird.
So he says, "Oh, we've had to take off we've had to disable the warp engines because we've got an issue with the antimatter containment." And Riker's like, "Oh, well, I just think it's safe." And he's like, "You wouldn't disable the warp engines this close to the neutral zone." "Well, I'll have a look. We're still running a level 1 diagnostic. After 30 hours, you'd have done it in 4. You're not that incompetent." And I'm like, if this was real, you are being a right sassy bitch to your crew right now.
To be fair, though, he's been running a diagnostic for like a day, and you just go like, that's kind of terrifying.
Windows defrag isn't even that bad. Come on.
Yeah, that's it. not even on Riker's porn collection, a defrag wouldn't take that long. That's, you know.
Unacceptable. Sorry. Tried to do a bit and it failed. So, but, so things start to go awry, and things just start to unravel pretty quickly on this bridge scene. So, he goes immediately to Worf, who has said nothing up until this point, and he goes, Worf, where did you get this scar? In combat. Where? What battle? What field? What planet? What happened? And Worf's just sat gangster leaning, and he's just like, oh, like that, and I'm just like, has he got posture problems after 16 years?
He's got back trouble.
He's just like that, and he's just like the hunchback of Kronos or something like that. It's so weird. But then the biggest tip off is when Data, he goes, Data, how far to Outpost 23 at Warp 1? How far Warp 7, Warp 8, Warp 9? And then Data uses a contraction, and White Riker's like, oh, damn.
Yeah, he takes time to process it, and he's like, oh, hang on. Yeah. and you know, the jig is up. As soon as he uses a contraction, it's like, that is not Data.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Riker's just like, let's end this charade. And then we find out that Tomalok...
No. You've missed out the key important bit.
Oh, yes!
Picard comes on the bridge and starts saying stuff, and then Riker's just like, shut up! What did he say to me? I said, shut up! It means stop...
Stop talking!
It's one of the best lines
but
in all of Trek.
Even in a fake reality, he still goes to Deanna, back off. Doesn't tell her to shut up, shut your mouth.
Nope.
Back off, Deanna. Ooh.
Back off, Deanna.
It's just like, wow. Like, the love is strong that even fake Deanna gets respect over Picard.
It's an iconic line, though, but just having someone tell Patrick Stewart to shut up is just like, any actor that gets the chance to do that, that's like, you know.
Not even Rick Berman.
No, not even Rick Berman, no.
No, that's why Rick Berman stayed in the office all the way through the 90s.
But no, I love the idea, though, but it's like this whole scene of him recognizing that no one is actually acting themselves, and you know that there is, you know, him just unraveling the whole thing. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And then obviously when he goes, oh, let's end this charade, then it all fades away and it's a hollow suite
of Tomalok.
Like you were saying, the only person that's real on the actual bridge is Tomalok.
And then well, this is I mean, for a visual effects thing, this was actually quite good because we got like a Romulan holodeck.
Yes.
And I liked the detail in this, that they put someone in an operation room behind Riker, like just working away, and I thought, I like that.
He's the poor bastard with the calculator, where, you know, like, where he's just like, how quickly can we get to this planet and Warp 8? And he's like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Carry the one. What's the intermix ratio of a Galaxy-class starship? I don't know.
Oh, fuck.
Trying to use 1993 Excel.
Computer, bring up the records for such and such. And you got the poor content writer in marketing being like, oh, fuck. Went on a ship, had a lovely time. Yeah, great. Enter. There we go.
God, those crazy Romulans. But yeah.
Romulan marketing.
I mean, when I first saw this, I was like, oh, so it's a Romulan. Do you know what I mean? Like, you get that and you're like, oh, it's all a holodeck. Very, very Dallas, I think, for me when I was younger. And then it was like, oh, right, so it was all a holodeck. And it's all Tomalok's dastardly deed.
As expected by Tomalok. I expected you to be dastardly.
Yeah, because then they go to the interrogation chamber and they're like, they're adjusting... they're adjusting the one grey streak of facial hair, the comm badge and stuff like that, and I'm like, come on, you could have just like put a prop on or something, do you know what I mean, instead of just like having fancy hollow comm badges, you bloody expensive Romulans. But yeah, we find out that it was all a fake, and Tomalok's like, well, how did you find out? He's like, because you put my sex doll in as my wife. And he's like, but she was real, I'm telling you. And Riker's just like, yeah, I've got a thing for her, but she ain't real. And I love the fact that he just outwardly comes out with it.
Yeah, it's this idea of how clever it is, and I love this episode because it basically it brings up it's very relevant to today with like AI and whatnot, with the idea of like we have Chat GBT, and we have like all of these things where the AI can't tell the difference between something that's real and something's not real kind of thing. Like for instance, when you get stuff with writing content, so we were joking around with it where we were asking ChatGPT to basically write content for us. But if there was lies on the internet, it would just put it in there because it didn't know that it wasn't real. So if it was like a fake Wikipedia page, it would mix that content in with actual facts and stuff. And we were like, okay. And then that's exactly what happens here. They've obviously written an algorithm that basically looks in his brain, scans his brain, gets all of the stuff, and then goes, oh, cool, let's make a narrative based upon that. But obviously it's based upon what means a lot to him, such as a fake person, and then goes, oh, okay, yeah, that means a lot. That must be real. And it's a proper... Yeah, I don't know.
Very Riker.
Relevant to today, I think.
Yeah, it's very Riker that he only discovers because of a woman. that he was intimate with.
Not a son or anything.
Yeah, not like subtle things, not like a computer glitch or data's wrong or anything like that. No, it's a woman he banged in season 1. And he's just like, yeah, you're fake, so that's how I found out. And he's just like so fucking smug about it as well.
What it should have been is that Crusher was a competent doctor. And then, he just gets so far and he's like, hang on.
That would have been a quick episode.
I'm so harsh on Crusher.
You are.
I don't actually mean it. I don't actually mean it. It's just become a bit now.
To be fair, when I was a little girl, I obviously wanted to be a doctor because of Crusher. As I've got older, I sort of identify much more with some of the other characters than you ever would with that. But when you look back and you rewatch them as you get older, you're like, wow, some of the incompetence here is spectacular.
Yeah.
Some of it is just...
But that was throughout the ship, though.
I really loved Crusher as a kid, but I loved the fact that Crusher got a lab coat. No one else gets a lab coat. I love that bit of the uniform. It was the idea, like Pulaski's like, oh, I don't need this, and Crusher's just like, I don't know, the look is amazing,
Do you know why she got a lab coat?
No, tell me.
No.
Because she was pregnant, and they wanted something to cover it in lighting. Right. So obviously a lab coat, you can pull it, and obviously it's baggy and everything like that, and they just kept it all the way through.
Wow.
So they just kept it. Like if you look at Bones in the original series, he had a silky uniform.
Pregnant?
Yes, he had a silky. Do you see how I just skirted past that joke?
Yeah. Move on.
No wonder he's so grumpy all the time. He's just like, how has this happened?
He's just lactating. So he had the silky. Hi, Kelly. He just had the silky medical uniform, which was different. So medical personnel just have a slightly different uniform, like all the way through. Apart from the Doctor in Voyager, who was obviously a hologram, they just had different uniforms. Well, that and Bashir as well, but it was always different. But yeah, that's why Gates McFadden wore the lab coat, was because she was originally pregnant and they liked it so much that they just kept it, because obviously the uniforms aren't that comfortable and it can hide a lot. So it's easy to justify. I mean, this is why, again, Picard in season 6 or 7 went for the jacket uniform. Because obviously constantly doing the Picard maneuver was annoying, it was uncomfortable. So he just said, can you tailor the captain to have some sort of jacket like Shatner had with the green uniform? Where it's just like an open, deep V before deep Vs became a thing in the mid-2000s with indie people. Do you know what I mean? So it was one of those, just one of those little tiny little facts about that. But
I love it though, that it's like, because obviously we see in episodes like when we get Ro Laren about how strict the dress code is, where it's the idea of you can't even have an earring, you can't mix it up that much. You basically have the normal uniform, the formal uniform, and the dress uniform. And that's it, basically. But then you're like, hang on, she has a lab coat. And I like this idea of it being like, she's afforded this because of her seniority or whatnot. Or if there are like accessories that you can have at certain ranks or whatever. Like, Yeah, I don't know. I
think
always,
I think it's
liked
rank
it as
and
a
privilege. Yeah, I think it's rank and privilege, because if you look at B'Elanna Torres in Voyager, she's got the engineering overcoat as well that has all the little spanners that go all the way through there. So I think it's rank, privilege, and probably occupation and what you do on the ship that necessitates an adaptive uniform. So obviously, as a lab coat, it's sterile. It means you can carry tools at the drop of a hat. You can pull out hypo spray or whatever. When the situation, when the situation arises. But getting back to the Romulan base, Tomalak basically says that with the landing party, they landed a kilometre away from the base, and they decided to let the other two go, so let LaForge and Worf go, but they kept him, and they want Outpost 23. Obviously, he's not going to give it up. Throw him into the brig with his son, or Ethan, as he is now called, who says that, I was on Viridian 6 with my parents, and we were taken, and I don't know where my parents are. And again, Riker, Viridian 6 was uninhabited. I didn't know. The Enterprise D would have picked up if there was an attack on Viridian 6. So immediately Riker's a little bit sus straight away. Yeah. Ethan says that he's escaped before, but he wants to do it. He wants to do it again. Tomalak comes barreling in, wanting to know.
I love this. This is the most unreal bit of the whole episode.
It is.
Because literally, Tomalak puts him in the cell and goes, right, you wait here, and then goes off. And then it's like a minute later. He comes back and he's like, right, hello, tell us the information. You're like, hang on. It's like, you haven't even had time to make a cup of tea. It's just...
Like, they haven't had time to go to the loo or anything, and he just comes barging back in. And then Riker being Riker, he's just like the slowest punch I have ever seen, because the wind up for that punch is just like, Tomalak's like, blah, 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 and Riker's just like, oosh, like that. And it's like...
It's the animated He-Man punch. You know, he punches the camera in He-Man.
And it's like, how could you not see that coming? And like, how weak of a Romulan are you where you literally get... Yeah, it's the shoulder pads.
They become difficult to navigate.
Yeah. There's a lot of wind to fight with in turning.
Not very aerodynamic Romulans, basically.
But, large turning circle for a Romulan. But they get
makes
chinned.
a beeping noise like a van reversing.
Warning, Romulan
While
reversing.
He's trying to dodge a punch.
Warning, Romulan reversing.
You just get punched in the face.
Yeah, so they get chinned and they escape, and Ethan and Riker escape through a vent, and Riker, we get a nice close up of Riker like locking the vent in with some sort of wrap or tie or something like that, and the Romulans can't get through. And then the next scene, it's like the Romulans searching, and they're like the scanning, and they go, we can't find him. And even Riker goes, why did they not find us? Oh, it's the rocks. Yeah. There's metal in the rocks. And he's like, we're right there. Like, they could probably hear us breathing.
They could see you.
They could see. You're in a red uniform. They can see you. Romulans aren't that stupid. They are wide, but they are not stupid. So yeah, this scene, it's again where it all starts to fall apart, because Ethan has planned an escape. He's got blueprints, and he's like, we need to go here, and I've been tunneling this, and we can do this and do this. And then Riker notices that Ethan has called Tomalak ambassador.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he goes, Tomalak's a captain. He was only ever an ambassador during the simulation. How did you know about that? Oh, well, you told me. He's like, no, I didn't. And then Tomalak comes barreling through this place that they have just escaped.
The secret place.
The secret place. And Riker just gives up, because Riker's just like, yeah, here you go. Throws the phaser at Tomalak, which, health and safety, as you do. And he's just like, I've had enough of this. Let's end this. And then we realise that all of it was just a ruse, was just a subterfuge by Ethan. Synoiz?
And isn't it great, though? Isn't it great that it's a double bluff, where it's literally like this whole like, it was the Romulans behind everything. You're like, no, it wasn't. It's not. It's someone pretending that the Romulans are doing a trick.
Someone pretending to pretend, so they can pretend while they pretend.
No, I loved it because this episode, like I said, I vaguely remembered this episode, not too heavily. And so I was like, oh yeah, yeah. I was watching it being like, oh yeah, I remember this one. It's the Romulans. Yeah, they're behind it. And then when it has this twist at the end, I'm like, oh, it's not, is it? It's like, and I like the fact that this episode that obviously I've seen loads because of the amount of times I watched Next Gen still surprises me all these years later. It's great.
Yes.
That's the. I mean, I'm going to ask your opinion on this, Kirsty, in a minute, but that is the beauty of Star Trek, where you could watch all the movies, all 880 plus episodes, back to back, non-stop, finish, go back to the beginning, and not have a fucking clue what was going on because of the sheer volume of episodes and movies that you have got to watch. And this is why, to this day, let's be honest, Star Trek has not stopped being syndicated since the 70s. It is on all day, every day, on some channel somewhere in the world. That is the beauty of Star Trek. You will watch something. You may be the biggest fan of Star Trek. You may be the biggest fan of a certain series. You could go back to that and go, oh, I totally forgot that happened. And this happened to me because I watched them all a couple of years ago, and I watched them all. And then I was like, oh, damn, this was actually a double bluff. And then I remembered when I was watching it as a kid, and I was like, wait, what? And because I was a kid, I was like, so that wasn't real, but that wasn't real. So is this real? And then I started questioning my reality, and I was having existential crisis at 8 years old. And it just sort of, for an episode in the early 90s, it was quite sophisticated for its time to do that double bluff. But what did you, Kirsty, I know you probably watched it like me when it first came out on the BBC or Sky.
Yes.
What did you think of this final twist?
It was like you said, I'd actually forgotten about this episode. I remembered it when I started watching it, but I didn't remember everything. This final twist for me again was like, oh yeah. Because again, I watched it when I was little. I remember it when I was little. I remember what you've just said about the existential crisis going, eh? But it's that little shock, obviously not for my husband, who can somehow remember everything. He was just like, yeah. And I was like, oh man, look, this is look at this, what's happened? Yeah. But yes, it's quite shocking, isn't it? It's quite because I think you just expect it to be Tomalak. You expect that Romulan dirty trickery, don't you? And the fact that it's not, you're like, oh, right, okay. What's happened here? Why? What's going off now?
I was excited up until this point, because I was excited because the Romulans were very underused in the original series, which we all know why, because it was budgetary. It was easier to just put some motor oil on a human's face and call them a Klingon than put pointy ears and do their eyebrows. So to get the Romulans fleshed out in the Next Generation, I was like, oh, a new conspiracy by the Romulans, and it's Tomalak. Oh, and then we get this like shocking twist at the end where it's like it was a lonely child who was abandoned by his mother to make him safe, and set up these emitters to give him anything he wants, but the only thing he wanted was something real. And I thought that
tangible.
It's tangible. Yeah, I wanted someone real and tangible. I didn't want you to leave. And it's very sad, because this is, out of all of it, this is a lonely young boy who lost his mother, who was alone, and that just wanted someone to be there, just wanted companionship, and just wanted to communicate with, who was real and tangible. Yeah. And I thought that was quite true. And then the final reveal where it's just that, where it's an alien, he's not human.
Where basically he, Riker asks to see his true form, and then basically it's like, well, you can see him actually. You can see him on the little the rotating pictures on the on the YouTube.
I made an exception to get him on.
It's not the best costume in Trek. It's a costume by people that knew he was going to be on set for about a minute,
Come on. I mean, Westmore, it's a Westmore, so there is a lot of effort, and the team did put a lot of effort in. The fingers might not have been.
No, I do like it. I do like it, but it is this weird thing. And I have to say though, and then obviously they beam, it ends with them basically beaming off the planet.
I love that he took him.
Don't worry,
with him.
I'll take you back to society. Do we ever see him again?
No.
So, so we'll take it back to, they just throw him into space.
They
They're
go
like,
to
right,
the
well,
random starbase in the sky, as with everything else. But this is, again, this episode, this is a prime example of why I love Lower Decks, because it's these arbitrary episodes with these arbitrary characters that you never see again, that Lower Decks go, we're going to revisit that. We're going to do that. And like the last season, they did this whole arc about second contact, going back to planets that the Enterprise D had visited and then just left, and then seeing the repercussions of just leaving them. And you're like, this is actually a serious issue that needs to be explored more. These characters are serious issues, like people that need to be explored more. And we did it with in Star Trek Prodigy. What was his name? He was in one episode of The Next Generation. He was a DJ in Lower Decks. He was a DJ in Lower Decks on the Starbase.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
You know how I'm on about?
Yeah, I know what you're on about.
But then they revisit him in Prodigy, and it's like, yes, you've got... And Synoiz, you raise this quite a lot, and I will forever stick by this opinion that we don't need new aliens. We need to explore the aliens and the people we already got, because the selling point of Star Trek is, yes, exploration and boldly going, but it's also exploration and boldly going in yourself and in others, and developing yourself as a person.
There's so much, like you say, with Lower Decks. It's wonderful that Lower Decks is going, hey, here's all of these like random little things that we never got a full conclusion to, or we never got to see what happened to that character and stuff. And then it just goes, oh yeah, we can revisit this. And that's how rich the lore is. That's how rich the universe is. And like for instance, like DS9, like there is an episode of Next Gen which is basically, oh, here's the Cardassians. Oh, the Cardassians have been oppressing these people called the Bajorans, something blah 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 blah. And then from that you get all of DS9. You could literally have a whole spin-off series about Baresh and his like culture that's been wiped out or whatever, and why he was a war orphan and stuff. You could literally just make a new show that's basically about, that planet. And that's the joy of Trek, and then obviously to see them just go, oh, we need a new race, we need to add new stuff in. You're like, do you? I don't know if you do. Like there's so much, like the Breen. Please put the Breen back in.
Yes,
I want to know more about the fucking Breen.
They are coming back in Lower Decks.
Are they? Well, yeah, okay, no, but I mean like
the pack
outside of Lower Decks. I mean like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like there is
like in Legacy, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, here's what happened to the Breen. They've recovered after the embarrassment of the
I have
Dominion War."
No doubt, because obviously the Writers Guild of America is on strike, and we wholeheartedly support the Writers Guild of America. They deserve what is fair. They have received really shitty treatment when it comes to credit and pay in the age of streaming. So once everything is sorted and they have got what they fairly deserve, and we go back to making new Star Trek, when they do, not if, when they do Star Trek Legacy, I have no doubt in my mind that in the 25th century we will explore, or continue to explore, the elements of Deep Space Nine, the recovery of Voyager, the what would you call it, the aftermath of arriving back at the Delta Quadrant with Captain Seven, obviously. So we will get that fleshed out. These are, let's not forget, these three shows, Next Generation, Voyager, and Deep Space Nine, they encapsulated the 90s, but they encapsulated an era of Star Trek which has never died. People still want to explore, and people still want to continue. They have created a rich lore, rich stories, rich world that, like Star Wars, there is endless things to explore, and people want to know what happened to the Breen, what happened to the Wormhole, the Prophets, DS9, the Dominion, the Changelings. Yes, we're getting it with the Packlegs. What happened to the Cardassians? What happened to
what is the canon state of Cardassia? That's what it's like
people want to know.
Books go into it and stuff, but it's the idea of going, like, are they recovered? Has their culture totally changed?
Yeah. We get, I mean, basic canon fleshes it out a lot. Star Trek Online fleshes it out a lot. But they are not canon. People who don't play these games, people who don't read the books or anything like that, they want to know how life is in this area. This is, for a lot of people, like me, like Kirsty, like you, Synoiz, we grew up with these people. They are an extension of family for a lot of people. You know, people care about them. That's why I think Picard got such glowing reviews for its send-off, because it was like, no one had to die, no one had to, they just literally got together and played poker and rode off into the sunset, because sometimes everyone deserves a happy ending. And you're like, right, okay, that's fine. But people want to stay in that. I mean, yes, we've got the 22nd century, 32nd century, whatever. People want to stay in the world that they knew, that they loved, that they still want to explore, as they did in the 90s and the early 2000s.
Yes.
And I very much look forward to the announcement, maybe next year, maybe the year after, of Star Trek Legacy, where all of our questions can be answered about what happened to DS9, what happened to the Backlegs, what happened to the Breen, what is going on, where is Ben Sisko, where is Kieran and Reese. Now is the time to do it. We have had the resurgence in popularity of not just Star Trek overall, but in the TNG era, in Deep Space Nine, in Voyager, in the Next Generation, because these shows are freely available on Netflix and Paramount Plus in some countries together. People are understanding these, like Deep Space Nine, like you know, Synoiz. People are revisiting it and going, this wasn't a cheesy sci-fi show from the 90s. This was actually hard-hitting, very advanced in some elements for its time. This deserves a second glance. This deserves more exploration than the 7 years of which we got it.
And it's the fact of season 3 of Picard basically just goes, hey, here's loads of elements of DS9, and then we can see on the internet how well that's been received, which basically just says, continue this, you fucks. You know, like, it's basically anyone who brings out anything new with Star Trek is going to go, oh, we should be doing DS9 stuff because there's a massive demand for it, you know?
Yeah.
I remember speaking to Ira, so at one of the Destination Star Trek conventions, I actually went and had a conversation with Ira. I was seeing Bear, if anybody hasn't had a look at what he's actually done, he's actually involved in so many, really, really, really high-class television projects. But he was very passionate about Deep Space Nine. When I said to him, obviously, I said, when I was younger, when this first showed on TV, I said, I was quite young. I said, and this got to a point where it was very dark. And he said, honestly, he says, I love this show with all my being. He says, but it was very ahead of its time. He said, it was very dark. It was very political. He says, and I said, to be honest with you now, it's so relevant now. When you watch Deep Space Nine now, it's so relevant. It's so heavy. It's so well thought out. And he said, yeah, it was just ahead of its time.
Yeah.
He says, we were so far ahead, we didn't realise it at the time. And that was really important. And I think coming forward now, when you watch Deep Space Nine, it is so relevant in so many different ways. You have to be that. Next Generation is like, it's like family. It's so fun. It's, you can watch its sense of humour. But that going forward to Deep Space Nine and its darkness is when you watch it that second time, when you're that bit older, when you've had a bit of the grounding as well. So important. Such a brilliant Trek that is all-encompassing.
It really is. Guys in the chat, leave poor Graeme alone.
They're saying I look tired, and I'm like, I don't look tired on this, but on the actual screen, the JPEG, the compression makes my eyes look a lot more
you look
tired
stunning,
than they
darling.
actually are. It's like, do I look tired, guys?
You look stunning, darling.
You look fine.
You look fine. You look like you.
I'm like, I think it just is the thing, but I am a little bit tired, to be fair, and I will be streaming after this episode, so I'll be streaming on Twitch. So it's the idea of going, that'll last a while, but I love this bit. I love where we find out his name's Baresh, isn't it? Yeah, no, Barash. I love the idea, though. We talk about like him going off and having a happy life, but I just expected it to do the Simpsons Poochie thing, where they teleport out and then it just goes, Baresh died on the way back to his home planet.
Yeah,
because we never see him again.
Do you not think Riker looks a little bit like he's seen his mum before, though? Like, oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, you might be my son.
Yeah.
I also, this episode, this is a bit dark, but this marks the first time that Riker loses a son in Trek. It's becoming a little bit of a meme, I think.
Yes.
Where it's this idea of the whole Triker. Well, that's
Triker.
Oh, the couple name,
Troy-
Triker.
Triker. Yeah, Triker. But this isn't from Triker. But yeah, but basically, this is Minuet and Riker. So
Micah.
Riker.
Oh no, don't call it Micah.
Riker?
No.
No. Anyway, you know, and it's that weird thing of like, I love that it's a permanent thing for Riker's character progression that he is a father, and he doesn't see himself as a father, but it's the fact of that's where his life is.
That's his destiny.
To
Yeah.
go. Yeah. And I like that this is probably the first time we see him being a father, isn't it?
Yeah. Lee McClelland in the chat. Hi, Lee. Nice of you to join us. Deep Space Nine is one of the best Star Trek series I've ever seen. Of course,
he's right though.
He's right.
It's my favorite, and I have only mentioned it a couple of times. I love this morning. This morning I got a text a WhatsApp message from someone who I haven't spoken to for 4 months. No message whatsoever. Just a link to a YouTube video of in the pale moonlight scene where Garak's talking about, but you came to me because you knew I could do it. And in that scene, I was like, hi. You know, and that's how we communicate, by random DS9 references.
Yeah.
And it was just so weird, lying in bed watching that scene where he's just like, you know, and all it cost was one Romulan senator, one criminal, and one Starfleet officers, you know. Like, what is it? Like, Pride or something.
Yeah.
It's so good.
But overall, guys, what did you think to Future's Imperfect? Chef's kiss?
Absolutely
Chef's
amazing
kiss.
Episode. Loved it.
Yeah.
It's
really
we got
happy.
everything. Like, Riker isn't my favorite TNG character, but I still love him, but he's not my favorite out of them. But it's this idea of like, it's a perfect episode. We get everyone has something to do in it.
Yeah.
We get to see all these nice little quirky things where we get to see Data be a bit different. We get to see Geordi be a bit different. We get to see a bearded Picard, which is fucked up. And
I liked it.
Ambassador Tomalak. I take the piss out of like the actor Andreas, but it's the idea of he's an amazing villain.
He is.
You know?
Yes.
He really is. Right, guys. I think. Bear with me. Oh, no. Bear with me.
Oh.
I think, guys, I'm getting an incoming transmission.
Incoming transmission.
Oh my god, guys. It is the double wheel of episodes. It has infiltrated our systems. Oh my days.
Oh my god.
Look at this, though. All three of us on the same camera because I was able to fix it properly, you know what I mean? Absolutely. It never went wrong.
Right on to say we're doing really good, aren't we?
It never went wrong. What are you all on about? Yes, guys, we have got the double wheel of episodes. If you are new to the Star Trek and Nerdy Up North series, where the hell have you been? You've missed all the debauchery. The double wheel of episodes is a lovely little program that Science Officer Synoiz had programmed, wherein it has over 440 Star Trek episodes.
It might be more. It's all of original series, all of TNG, all of DS9, all of Voyager, all of Enterprise, and the movies. And it might have animated series in.
Oh!
I said that it didn't. But then I'm thinking about it. But it might do. If not, they are going to go in there at some point. But it's a lot of episodes.
Well, the double wheel is obviously random chance, guys, and whatever it lands on, we have to review it in the next week or the week after if we are able to get some big guests. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, I'm so nervous. Right. Are we all ready?
Code of Honor or Candle Slag? One of those.
None. Right. Are we ready, guys?
Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, something from Deep Space Nine I'd like, because I've got Deep Space Nine on the shelf of mild destitution, so I would like to keep it there for the next week. So I am going to spin now. And we are spinning, and we are going to land. Double!
No!
Holy shit.
What?
Next week, guys, we will be reviewing Star Trek Voyager's two-parter Dark Frontier.
Oof.
I don't like the way that Kirsty went, oof. Let's get the brief synopsis up, shall we, of Dark Frontier.
Well, how are you feeling, Kirky? Are you not a fan?
I love all Voyager. I just think some of the Voyager goes in a darker place. I mean, obviously, some of like the Year of Hell and stuff like that's just absolutely out of this world. But yeah,
isn't
let's
it
wait
mad
and see.
to think that Year of Hell was going to be a whole season, and then
Yes.
they just went, "Oh, let's just make it like 2 episodes."
Yeah, but they did some amazing like double parters, which is, you know, just that was one of the things about Voyager, some of the double parters. But we'll see. Let's see. Let's not spoiler alert. Let's.
Aboard the Delta Flyer, Janeway leads 2 Vok Paris and the Doctor on a rescue mission to retrieve Seven from the Borg Queen, whose treatment of Seven is markedly atypical. What the hell is that kind of synopsis?
I think I remember this one. I think I remember this. But this is great though, because obviously, like, this is a Voyager episode where we're getting Seven, we're getting the Doctor, we're getting the Borg Queen, and while we make fun of the Borg being all the way throughout, like, Voyager and the Borg being a massive part of Voyager,
here we go.
only see the Queen twice, pretty much.
Here's a better synopsis there. When Captain Janeway devises a plan to steal a transwarp coil from a damaged Borg sphere, the mysterious Borg Queen learns of the plan and uses this knowledge in an attempt to return Seven of Nine to the Borg by issuing her an ultimatum: rejoin the collective or watch Voyager be assimilated. Ooh.
Yes.
Mid-season two-parter, this one. It was a mid-season finale of season 5. So we're in the middle of Star Trek Voyager's heyday, I would say. Yeah. This is a two-parter, so as it is a two-parter, we will be reviewing both episodes. So
is this episode? Is this what's the little girl's name?
Oh, that is
what's the little girl
Naomi Wildman.
Yeah, is this pre-Naomi Wildman?
No, Naomi Wildman is in this one. What's wrong with Naomi?
We've got a table flip. Fuck Naomi Wildman.
It's a child, Synoiz.
Okay, no, I didn't mean to go full Philip Schofield.
No!
We did so well. We did so well.
But
2 weeks in a row!
We're demonetized! Hey! But,
I'm curious which Borg Queen this one is, because I know Voyager chopped and changed Borg Queen quite a lot throughout the series.
I believe this was the stand-in Borg Queen, not Alice. Not
I'm
Alice
sure
Krieg.
they only got Krieger for
the finale.
The final, yeah.
Yeah, Alice Krieg was in the finale. This was the stand-in. This was the Beta Queen.
The Beta Queen.
The Beta Queen, as she was known.
Susanna Thompson, something like that. I can't remember her name now.
Yeah. Beth, a little thing in the chat. Obviously, they've been doing a wager of showing what season it would land on, and Beth was the closest because she guessed season 5, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh no, but she said season 6, episode 8, so she was the closest. So, well done, Beth.
Well done.
You win a prize. The prize is nothing.
Cereal.
It's the prize is Rice Krispies.
Treat yourself. Get a second bowl.
Get a second bowl of Rice Krispies. But no, some big news came out this week from the Star Trek world. We saw an official trailer for season 2 of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, and oh my God, a little bit of wee came out from me, because not only did we get to see the lovely, the delectable, the absolutely wonderful Anson Mount again and his glorious quiff.
Mount me daddy.
I love Anson Mount so much. Not in the way that Synoiz likes Anson Mount so much, although...
The clue is in the name.
The
clue is in the name.
Pipe me with some Tranya and maybe. But I love Strange New Worlds so much. It was such a breath of fresh air when it came out last year. We get to see more of Captain Kirk in this trailer, and we get to see live action Tawny Newsom and oh my God, I forgot his name from The Boys.
Jack Quaid
as Boimler and Beckett Mariner from Lower Decks, and I'm like, oh And I love the awkward scene at the beginning. It's like, live long and prosper, Ensign Boiler. And Boiler's just exactly what every fanboy would be at every convention. Where it's just yeah, that is always us. Whenever, I mean, look at when Mark came into the chat a few weeks ago, and I'm just like, that's, yeah. So it was nice to feel seen in an actual Star Trek episode. So I can't wait for Strange New Worlds to come out. But guys,
how long have we got? Because obviously we're going to be doing that. We're going to be covering every episode, aren't we? The same as we did with Picard season 3. So is this idea of like how many more actual Dabble Wheel episodes do we have until we do that? I'm hoping we get a film. It's unlikely because there's only like 8 of them. We have, so
it was 4 weeks last year, so it's 3 weeks we've got until June the 15th, until we hop on to Strange New Worlds season 2 reviews, and that's 10 episodes.
Yeah, so we've got 2 more Dabble Wheel episodes after Dark Frontier. Yeah,
2 more Dabble Wheels. Dark Frontier will review part 1 and part 2 because we don't like to leave you all on a cliffhanger here at Star Trekking, so we will do both. And yes, there is Naomi Wildman, and I will make sure that Naomi Wildman is in the scrolling banner.
Oh no! Don't put her in the bloody.
Why? Why don't you like Naomi Wildman? Tell me.
He just annoys me. You know, the epitome of a show where they just go like, it's like if you mention Dawn to a Buffy fan. Most of the fans will be like, Dawn. Fucking Dawn when she comes in. And it just feels like that where someone in the studio went, you know what Voyager needs? It needs a child just randomly. It needs loads of kids. So here's some Borg kids that we don't really do anything with.
But we've had children on Trek all the way through. We've had Crusher. We've had Jake, Nog. Keiko's Spawn. Which we don't want to...
Molly.
Spawn.
Molly the Destroyer.
Human Keiko hybrid, as we will call it. And then we had Naomi Wildman.
There's something especially obnoxious about like Naomi Wildman. I don't know what it is.
Think of it this way: it's not a Naomi Neelix episode.
Okay, no, that is a very good point. That is. You're right. It could be worse.
I mean, I'm looking forward to meeting Neelix at a Destination Trek.
Ethan Phillips
is fab.
He's so
absolutely
good.
lovely.
I've heard he's a really nice guy.
I've got a signed autograph from him. He's absolutely he's wonderful. Such a to be honest, most of them are. I don't think I've met maybe Bill Shatner, but that's it.
Oh, you say Bill Shatner was all right with me, but. Yeah.
But this is 2012 when nothing was organised, and he was just like, "I want to go home." So yeah, I could sort of get that, Bill. You're in London. Lee McClellan says it's very sad. Also a very good episode. When it rains, it pours. Who mourns for Morn?
Who mourns for Morn?
Right.
Who mourns for Morn?
Oh, right. Yeah. Who mourns for Morn? Yeah. Nerdy Up North says, I want to review a movie. You will be on, Paul, when a movie gets shot out. However, the Dabble Wheel is a cruel mistress sometimes. And me and Synoiz have to do a 2-parter next week. So hitch up your tits
I'll
and
take
buckle
that
in.
challenge.
Yeah, hitch up your tits and buckle in, guys, because me and Synoiz are doing a 2-parter. Oh, my.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, this has been Star Trekking with Nerdy Up North, part of Trekking Up North, part of House Morgue, son of Phil. I don't know. We will have more logos and more labels going forward. I would like to thank our very wonderful guest, Kirsty, General Kirkby, for joining us this week. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. I would like to thank the wonderful Science Officer Synoiz for velour cladding the episode.
Thanks for watching, love. Go on, I'll see you in Aldi. Yeah,
what have you got?
Proper deals in.
Because you are the hardest working person at Nerdy Up North, what have you got to promote and what are you doing this week?
I'm going to be, after this, so probably about 9:30, I'm going to be streaming on Twitch. So you can watch me on my Twitch. Twitch.com/Synoiz. So it's
It's down there.
It's
down there.
I don't know.
It's
maybe
in the description, Synoiz.
Maybe they lost the fingers and they can't do the click.
Scroll.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Do that on your screen.
Don't
do that.
Put your hand
do
on
that.
the screen and say,
Just do that.
Alexa, do the thing.
Yeah.
Play the Finate.
Caress
But
the
anyway,
screen.
I'll be doing that, and I think I'm on Monsters Up North next week. Am I?
Again!
No, the week after. Yeah, it's a weird thing. We did the whole schedule, and I thought they were really spaced out, and then no. So
You got
I
the
think we're
good
recording next
contract.
week, and it'll be next Monday after.
Yes, you got
so
the
not
good
this Monday coming, the Monday after.
You got the
But yeah.
non-sacrificial contract. So I'm very jealous that you.
I love it. I love it where I just can kind of pop onto all the shows and just be like, hello, I'm here. For this.
Hello. If you are in the Newcastle area at the weekend, and more specifically Sunday at the Utility Arena, feel free to pop along at Comic-Con Northeast, where me and the delectable cut leader Paul will be at Comic-Con Northeast. We are walking around, doing a load of videos, hopefully trying to bag some interviews with some wonderful people, and just generally giving out stickers and whatever free shit that we've got in our backpacks to say hi, come and join us. If you do see us, please come and say hello. Come and get a photo with us. We'll give you a massive shout out in the Nerdy Up North Facebook community. Speaking of segue, did you like that?
Oh my god, he's done a segue. He's segued all over the floor.
If you are not a member of the Nerdy Up North community, what are you doing with your life? If you've got the Facey B, there is a link below to the Nerdy Up North community where we have hit 8,100 members. 14,000 people like the page, which is insane because it's just memes. Just nothing but memes. Feel free. You have absolutely destroyed me. Synoiz this episode. If you are not a subscriber to the Nerdy Up North YouTube channel, please give us a subscribe. Please give us a like on this video. Every tiny bit helps. If you're watching this back and it's not live, please leave a comment on what you liked about the episode, what you liked about Future Imperfect. Share this with your friends. We also have a Twitter page which hit over 600 followers today. So thank you very much to the new chatters and everyone who's joined because of Twitter. We love you. Thank you to Mark Sherwood who gave us a shout out on Twitter. Like us on the Discord. There will be a link posted below, and there will also be a link going up on the Facebook page again, just to reiterate, because we do have a very awesome Discord community. We also have a Twitch channel which me and Jake runs. I sometimes just appear and go, hi, I'm playing games. Hi. Other than that, you can catch the Velvet Snatch in all of his links below. And you can catch me on Twitter at Goodwill None. Guys, This has been Star Trekkin with Nerdy Up North. Thank you to everyone who has stayed with us in the chat. We love each and every one of you. Lee, before I leave, stop saying that people are going to lick me at SunnyCon. No, they're not. They are not
but
going to.
But if you
lick
want to.
No. No.
Okay, I'll go and they can lick me. Because
please.
Heaven knows I need the action.
Please lick Synoiz. Yes, speaking of SunnyCon is happening at the end of June. Please, if you're in the Newcastle area, it is an absolutely fantastic event. We love the organisers. We will be there as panellists. So please come along, say hello. We don't bite much. But guys, we are going to love you and leave you. We will see you next week. I would like to say to you all, live long and prosper. Keep safe. Be well. Bye-bye.
Kapla.
Kapla.
Miles?
Kapla.
Miles?